time for another round of Brandy. Candid conversations over cocktails about all things brand. With your hosts, Reilly Newman and Scott Saunders, the brand developers behind Motif Brands.
Welcome back to another round of Brandy. We got a mixed bag for you today. A lot of retail stuff and kind of some interesting topics off the bat. First, Snapple is going back to its nostalgic roots of kind of this 90s.
It was. They really rose, early 90s, I think it was, or maybe late 80s.
They're going back to not only the logo mark, going back to that vibe and the style that it was, but also the packaging. Kind of natural, authentic, and it's tapping into the whole 90s trend.
It's got that dynamic S and just the brighter color, like a little more, wasn't so one note.
Yeah.
And, the last one just kind of looked too space age. Like they're trying to be like fit into like these, athletic brands. Like, I don't know, should be on the side of barbells or something.
Speaking of athletic, it reminds me of, it's always reminded me of the Durex logo, which if you know Durex is the condom maker.
Why did you say on the same note? It's athletic.
It's
athletic.
It's very athletic. So the Durex logo has a container going around it that's like an oval.
Yeah, it's like a pill. It's a
pill
classic
shape, right?
pill-shaped logo. In fact, it's got the rounded. It's a round-ended.
It's a very
pill-shaped
UI term.
And then the Snapple. The text is all one height and the same thickness. It's monostroke. It's just.
Ugh.
It lost its personality, and so to see it coming back. Yeah. Side by side, just to see those two, the transition back to what it's going to be or back to what it was, I'm celebrating.
Which, I'm a fan of anything nostalgia. I think there are plenty of studies that show that nostalgia is key to a lot of profitability and actually increase in sales, but also them tapping into the 90s trend is genius of just kind of pulling back this thing. Yeah. Next on the list is actually the Nike Costco collaboration.
Yeah.
We mentioned it before, where Nike's very, very picky about who they collaborate with. Even they recently did the Skims collaboration with Kim Kardashian, and that was a big move for them to branch out and do that. Iconically, they have Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, a lot of these classics, but for them to branch out into a Costco Kirkland.
Jeez.
They did a custom.
There was a couple podcast episodes back that we talked about Kirkland brand, like Kirkland jeans,
Kirkland Nation,
and we were just talking about like it takes a certain type of person to purchase and wear boldly. Proclaim Kirkland jeans, and not that that's bad, but I just don't feel like it's a mainstream thing. But apparently, so Nike said, okay, yes, we went all in with Kirkland.
Yeah.
And they made a Kirkland version. So it had the Kirkland logo on it?
It had kind of this textile, kind of gray cotton look to it on the exterior of the shoe. And then it had the Kirkland logo. Yeah. It was like on the
high
tongue.
Tops? Mid tops?
No, they're
low
like
tops?
the whatever. I don't know the name of all the Nikes. It's a certain Nike model.
But more like a street shoe?
Yeah, like a low, kind of classic Nike look. And then even the Nike logo it matches the overall color of the shoe. So it's really low profile, cool. And the crazy thing is that they sold
for.
They sold, I think they're just normal price. They might have been like $80, $90 in Costco for the members, but they went so bananas over these that they were getting resold on eBay and stuff for like $3,000. So
people were buying up in hordes. The minute they dropped, it was like, it was like back in the day, like when the PS5 dropped and no one can find any.
And they were just being scalped. So it shows the power of not only Nike and how iconic their shoes are, but the power of Kirkland. And many people don't know this, but Kirkland, the revenue of just Kirkland. So within Costco as a massive multi-billion-dollar revenue machine, Kirkland plays a portion in that. And Kirkland actually has more revenue than all of Nike. So Kirkland is a big beast. Just the Kirkland segment.
What?
Yeah.
No way.
And Kirkland they have crazy collaborations, or even like the Kirkland vodka, the Kirkland coffee. Those are typically very high-end brands because I think their vodka is Grey Goose and the coffee is actually Starbucks repackaged under Kirkland label. So the Nike thing, it makes sense. It's a home run. It's a home run for the members, and Kirkland and / Costco is it's killing it right now. They are destroying.
Wow.
But similar to retail, Kohl's actually released their earnings, and just like before, Kohl's is slowly dying.
Which is, I mean, it's sad because I feel like like you think of like clothing / department stores. When I think of department stores, I think of like Target is a department store. I mean, literally, I can get cleaning brooms, mops, and cleaning supplies, or I can get home electronics to candles to cookware and clothing, right? It's kind of that,
you can get
and
Durex.
Food. Would you get off that? Why are you stuck on that? I have no idea. Anyway, but like Sears, it reminds me of Sears, and J.C. Penney, and like all these, and even Macy's. Macy's are still around, but it's a dying breed, and it's just weird that model is dying away.
I mean,
we have a Kohl's in town, and yeah, it's starting to it gets more and more decrepit.
There is, when you enter a J.C. Penney's, Kohl's, or even a Macy's, there is a cloud of depression. That's undeniable. When you enter I don't know if it's the lighting. I don't know what it is. You just feel, it's almost like tunnel vision. I don't know if it's PTSD from when my mom would shop, and then I'm running around and hiding in the racks and going, it's just, and being stuck in there while your parents shop. So the problem with Kohl's is that same store sales are dropping. Same thing with Macy's. They're just all slowly decaying. However, they're doing all right, like on their earnings per share. However, the longest line in a Kohl's is typically the Amazon return line, not the checkout.
Which, by the way, the checkout lines can get pretty long.
They can, because it's very,
because they have they're set up for like 8 registers. They have like 1 open.
Yeah, there's like 1 employee. So this is an issue that I saw people talking about on LinkedIn, and some retail experts kind of throwing around, going, okay, why is Kohl's suffering when they are getting foot traffic? They're getting foot traffic from Amazon, right? Amazon's essentially sending them free foot traffic as they do the return service. However, those people aren't converting to sales. So even though they could be tracking a lot of people coming through their doors, those people actually aren't turning around and shopping and or buying, and that's a problem.
And how are they tracking that?
Tracking sales?
Well, let's say someone goes into Kohl's, they get in line, and they go up to the register and they make a purchase. You buy a pair of socks.
Yeah, and they've been trying to nudge people by, when you do return something at a Kohl's, they'll give you 20% or 25% off. I think it's for that day, and it's a little coupon or your
Amazon
receipt.
Is.
Kohl's.
Kohl's is, but
it's on the Kohl's receipt. So you get your little stub after your return, and then they give you, hey, thanks for coming in. You can go shop. Please go look around. Please, for the love of God, buy something. Don't just leave, please.
For the love of God, for the love of all that is sacred. Okay, because I'll be honest. There's a couple times I've returned to something on Amazon. I've taken it down to our Kohl's. I'll drop it off, and on my way out, I found myself meandering over to the guys section, just to look. You never know what's the latest thing. I know maybe there's a discount rack, whatever. I just happened to go through. That's why I was curious. It's like their metrics is it doesn't work, and I'm just saying that's only if the only way they track it is if they use that coupon that's on the end of the receipt that they dropped it off, and if they either didn't it wasn't mentioned, which could be the case,
and someone's just unaware.
Because now you've got the Amazon employee; they've got to make sure that, or the Kohl's employee that is working on behalf of Amazon to receive those, that they're selling it up or not.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're tracking foot traffic and all of that as well for each store. But sales
facial
is down.
recognition. I mean, they are. They have so many video cameras and
sales
and AI
is down 4% year over year. And so then it's like, how do you spur these people? And I think the problem of it, just like in our Kohl's, there's a store-in-store model where you do have Sephora inside of Kohl's.
Yeah, it took over their previous makeup department.
Which is just so funny. It's like, is our Kohl's and department stores just becoming these carcass of a brand that then's being like, now you have brands inside of it that are reanimating this carcass. Like it's almost like a zombie.
Indoor farmer's market. You got all these little mini booths setting up inside of a Kohl's. Little pop-ups all over the place, but I to me I get it because it's kind of smart from Sephora's standpoint, right? They've got a mini store. There's so they're getting some foot traffic too, because they're situated in the area in Kohl's that makes most sense, and Kohl's gets foot traffic because people are coming into Sephora. So I can see where there's incentive for that.
It kind of weirdly reminds me of like digital, when people are just getting tons of traffic to their website and then none of it's converting. And it's like,
and they're getting excited. Look how many hits we have. Remember, it was like all about hits.
Look at all those impressions. Look at all those that traffic. Got this many clicks and 0 sales or very small conversion. I'm like, that's a problem, because you're just getting people browsing, and not actually shopping, and then turning around and abandoning their carts or doing whatever. Or like in Kohl's situation, it's like you're getting a bunch of faux traffic where they aren't eligible buyers. They aren't going to shop. And so now you're just keeping the lights on and running the AC for people to use you as a return. Like you're pretty much a UPS store at that point. And the problem here is that they're not understanding the modes of someone in return mode. They're almost in the polar opposite mode of purchase mode. You're returning an item for better, for worse. It didn't work. You didn't like it or whatever. And now you're trying to return this thing, and you're waiting in line because the line's always long, and you're actually trying to do the opposite of purchasing. And so for someone to then be nudged or go to a browsing mode, like Scott said, he goes into like a browsing, okay, he'll meander around, look around, maybe get something.
But it depends on my schedule and what I've got going on. If
you're just burning
I've got
time,
a lot of other things, and I'm just like,
which most likely, how many times do you actually buy something? Probably not that often. So the browse goes into a shopping mode, into a buying mode. And just like we talked about before, is like shopping and buying are different. So to get someone to go into shopping mode, they're already in return mode. They're just wanting to get in, drop the thing off, get out. And now you're trying to push them and nudge them into going, no, hey, stay here and just shop around a little and start kind of easing into, buying something. Just go buy something. That's not
buy anything.
People
for
don't.
The love of...
That's not how humans work, and especially in department stores, you have something that is very specific about a department that you're shopping, whether it's underwear, whether it's board games or books or toddler clothes or whatever, Durex. It's very specific about what you're buying, and that's why I think Target and some of these other brands like Walmart have been going more and more into what we talked about before. I think last year I brought it up about the brand and creating these experiences of themed areas. And that's why Target leans into right now, they're leaning into the whole cowboy and Western theme, right? It's not a department as much as it is an experience, or even their decor area is very themed that way. And IKEA has mastered this, where IKEA is not divided up into departments per se, but it's divided up into spaces and creating these little walk-in experiences where you're able to dive into it.
Kind of like the corner of our Target that reminds me of like the seasonal stuff, like when it's summer, barbecue accessories, lawn furniture, whatever, umbrellas, and then you get into Halloween stuff or holiday stuff, and it's kind of it's ever evolving.
Yep.
And anytime I'm at Target, I usually go by there just to see what is the newest seasonal thing going on. Summer's coming up, so what are the new things? And I find that Target kind of introduces that to me. And while I'm in shopping mode, but usually you go to Target because you need a set list of things. At least in my household, we do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There's always that time of while you're there. Oh, I might just head over to this section to check out. Maybe it's the latest, hardback books that dropped in the last couple of weeks, and they'd show the latest releases or something. And that might be kind of fun to just eyeball on my way, making the round long about turn to go check out.
The funny thing is that in a Kohl's best case scenario, someone happens to go, oh man, I have to go to Kohl's. It's always, for me, I prefer to return things through UPS with Amazon. It's a lot quicker, better. And whenever it is a Kohl's thing, I'm always like, shoot. And so I'm already not in a good mood dropping something off there. I'm going in, I just want to drop this thing off. And the best case scenario for Kohl's is go, hey, Reilly, here's a 25% off. Please go buy something. Please go look, right? And then the best case scenario is me go, heck, I'll go look around. Oh, I need to buy that thing, whatever. I'll just grab it here, get 25% off. And then I happen to purchase it. So somehow they're going to get me from disgruntled returner to now purchasing and buying this thing and moving on at the cost of 25% or 20% or whatever it is. So if anything, they happen to capture my sale, but which is a not high likelihood. But then if they do, it's at a discounted rate. So they're sacrificing margin on top of that, and potentially a future sale where I might have went there in the future and bought something at full price. So they brought a sale to the present at the cost of the company, no matter what. So you look at sales dropping, it's like, okay, obviously they're not serving things properly. They should be more thematic. They should lean into things. But also on top of that, they're not nudging someone to purchase something. And if they do, it's at the cost of the company. So it's a lose-lose-lose all around, and it doesn't make any sense. So a good opposite example of this, of a brand that is aware of modes and how people shop, is Netflix. And Netflix, when you're binging, when you're like fully watching Bridgerton or whatever you're doing, what's another good? Oh, Stranger Things. Is that the only 2 shows they have? I think so.
Netflix has a lot of good. They're one of my of my streaming platforms. They're one of my favorite. Yeah, they have Stranger Things. Wednesday's a great show.
Yeah, Wednesday's.
You're into Addams Family and all that.
Season
stuff.
2 is. Anyway. So if you're watching 3 of their shows, you're mid watching, and then an ad comes up, and their ads, if you're not, I think the pro one, if you pay more, you skip ads, right? If you're just watching, which a lot of people don't pay for the pro and they just watch the ads, they're unskippable. So they'll come up, okay, you get a little break, and the ad is targeted, and it has actually proven very, very, very high return for the impression. And the stat is it has a 162% higher sales per impression versus CTV, which CTV is like your classic traditional advertising, especially on television, which is not great. So you're actually getting a very, very high return because Amazon or Netflix is holding the viewer in this suspended state of entertainment. They're ready to consume. They're open to it, most likely looking at their phone too, with the whole second screen thing, and they're able to then go, oh, I'm enjoying Wednesday or Bridgerton or whatever it is, and then they see an ad, and they're able to then go explore that directly on their phone. Or I like how they integrate when you do pause it, the QR code.
Well, I was going to say, I like watching stuff on Prime. For that reason, is that the ads they show are more everyday type of stuff. Like you watch some stuff like on Hulu where all the ads are like pharmaceutical ads, right? They're these long names, that ridiculous made up names, and they're just one pharmaceutical ad after another. Usually at times it's the same one every, like with Hulu, but with Prime, they do like more everyday type of stuff. But what I love is that they have a little button on there to add to cart because you're signed into Prime. Yeah. So now I'm seeing ads for a product. I'm like, oh, dope. And it's like, with my remote, just clicking it, and it just doesn't take me out of that. It just adds it to my cart so that next time I go to Amazon to buy, and it's going to be sitting in my cart. That's genius. I'm like...
The Durex is already in your cart. Snapple. I'll change it to Snapple. Again, Netflix and Amazon Prime, very specific scenarios where they're in an entertainment state. They're wanting to enjoy... be suspended in a story or whatever. They're relaxing. And so even just being in that more consumer state, they're open. Their guards down because they're already consuming. So it's like if you're in at a feast and the food keeps coming, you're going to keep enjoying it. You're not so much going, okay, well, what's this going to be, right? It's like once someone's consuming, it's easier to sell them. So being aware of that, and then the advertising proves much more effective.
Yeah, it's like being consciously aware of what mode, your consumer is in when they most often engage with your brand.
Yeah.
If you offer a product that is, for instance, if you do emergency auto repair, right? And so people are coming in, they're like, oh, I'm stuck on the road. It's towed to your shop. They're in a bind, right? And you're like the type of service that you like give a great service, but you'd say to the owner, I hope I never see you again. Meaning I hope my car never breaks down again. Right. But that's the time when you're trying to sell them, oh, hey, why don't you sign up for our monthly oil maintenance and you're trying to upcharge things or sell things. Their mindset is just, they're wanting to have this problem resolved and just move on. Right. And so that's an example where being aware of what type of mode they're in helps you know as a brand how to best capitalize on that.
Yeah. And I think
or know about it.
Even Netflix being aware that viewers are doing the whole second screen thing, which I said that earlier, so I should say what that means. That's pretty much Netflix being aware that most people watching Netflix are also looking at their phone at the same time. So in newer content, they're repeating plot. They're having to help kind of do things slower because they know someone's looking at their phone, and then they're watching a little bit of the show, looking at their phone. So even that, someone's in a browsing mode where, if they see an ad for something, they might just look that up, right? And they might kind of scroll a little and then go back to the show and just keep going back and forth. And another stat with Netflix is that it's 3 times higher purchase intent. And so a good thing for founders to understand is that interest and intent are 2 different things in sales. Is that you can have a lot of interest. To me, that's like getting impressions. Someone might look over, you catch their eye, you get attention. That's some interest. But interest is fleeting, just like attention. Intent is different though. That's where the person's taking the next step and they're going, I'm actually intent towards purchasing this. I'm actually taking that next step where that's almost like they're probably more in that shopper mode. They're not just browsing. You're not just happen to get their attention because you made a loud noise, but they're taking that next step forward where they're kind of leaning in a bit. And that is super powerful because someone in that mode, like with Netflix, they are already in a browsing mode, in a relaxing, consuming mode. And then they happen to be in a higher intent mode when that brand is then put in front of them. So compared to, again, Kohl's, where, someone's not in a browsing mode, they're in return mode, they're just trying to get the job done. And then the brand is crossing their fingers going, please nudge over to browse and maybe shop mode, please, right? And that's a huge, huge ask because as consumers, like we don't want to be pushed that way. It's more of we want to be drawn that way or set in that state. So I think there's just something to learn of going, okay, understanding the mode of how someone is when they come to you, or maybe how you could potentially move them to a different mode, but doing that in like an appropriate way.
Well, and even here's the thing that I noticed is the time when I am in the line at Kohl's, you said that's the longest line, right? Next to the checkout line,
the bathroom,
the path that they give people to take from the doors to where that line would be situated, that to me would be the strategic place to promote your biggest not sales, but the things that you're trying to sell the most of. Because if someone's just standing there in line, there's been times I was literally like, there was stuff in this rack in the center of the aisle, and I'm standing by it, and I was just picking up. I was looking. It was just, you got nothing to do. I mean, yes, you could be on your phone, but it's very apt that you're going to actually stop and pause. But when Kohl's just goes, it's just running between these two, the kid's clothing and then the
storage.
bed sheets. And you're like, well, I'm in neither market for either of those items. But if it's like a hodgepodge mix of stuff that you're trying to either new stuff the store has or stuff that's on sale, or whatever it is.
Quick little buys.
Yeah, those are things where people could literally on their way out
bring it up there.
I would allow them to grab it and bring it up there and make the purchase after doing the Amazon return then and there.
I don't understand why they haven't leaned more into the Amazon aspect of allowing Amazon to even like brand some of it. And like seriously, it's like you're already in bed with Amazon. It's like you might as well like let them or even being aware of the line, like let them do like a blue stripe on it, like the Amazon blue or something where it's like it feels more branded and like associating the Kohl's brand with that. Just like the Sephora. The Sephora is able to, they do their black and white stripe and they make it look all
Beetlejuice.
Cool. Yeah. Very Tim Burton-esque. But I just think that there's missed opportunity there. And yes, Netflix and Amazon or Amazon Prime are very specific examples. But I think in any scenario, you can be aware of how someone is shopping, like the mode they are in and how you can go, okay, how do I get them out of this mode? Or how do I complement that mode and come alongside them and help them get to where I want them to be? So that's all we got for today. I think there's, everything from Snapple going nostalgic to Nike and Costco and
Kirkland Nikes.
Kirkland Nike. Like
sporting
Air Kirkland.
Seriously, I'm going to go online and see if I can find a pair online, just see what people are charging for that. That's crazy. I want to see what they look like.
Yeah. I haven't seen them out in the wild yet, but they look pretty cool.
I'll get you a pair for Christmas. All right. Well, thanks, guys, for checking in. And as always, we thank you. And pass the word on about the show. If you like it and get a lot out of it, spread the word. So, till next time.
Cheers.
Cheers.